All right, let's kick this off. We're going to start with one of the subsections of the P2P concept that was broken into several sections. This will be the P2P optimized transaction propagation. Ted, I'll turn it over to you. You can kind of pitch an idea from the ENF.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. The ENF is proposing that they manage the optimized transaction propagation with their partner OCI, and that we will transparently charge back the costs from OCI to do this work to the coalition. We are asking the coalition to approve a $250,000 budget for 6 months. We will supply weekly, monthly types of updates to the coalition on the progress of the project, but we will be the people doing it. It won't go through RFP, but will be, because OCI is uniquely qualified to do this section of the work. It would be done through an hourly chargeback with us managing on a weekly basis, and we do meet with OCI on a weekly basis already and have been for the last year. So again, it's a request for $250,000 as a ceiling for the work to complete the optimized transaction propagation with our OCI partner, with transparent pricing back to the coalition.
Okay, first of all, are there any questions for Ted on that? Can we like to go ahead and put this to vote? So first of all, we'll have ENF abstain. Wax?
That's a yes from Wax.
Okay. UX?
Yes.
TELOS?
Yes.
Okay. So that'll pass. So what I will do is I'll work with Ted. We'll kind of put this into project framework, and then we will get back to you once we have a plan in place and costs locked down. Did we want to say there's a cap on this, or is that something we're coming back with later?
No, we are saying there is a $250,000 cap that the ENF will expose to the coalition for this work in the 6-month mark. Yeah, so that is the most that the coalition will spend on this project in the first 6 months.
All right, perfect. Okay. Staying with P2P, a quick update on the peer discovery. We are right at the very end of negotiating the contract minutia with Fudan. As a reminder, the price has already been accepted, so that's not what's going on. It's just, milestone breakdowns, dates. I would expect this to be signed and a project kickoff to occur within the next couple of days or early next week. And so next week, we should be able to start providing updates, at the very least, an overall project schedule. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving on, the RAM limitation fixes. As a reminder, ENF proposed that we would do a section of this. On Monday, I believe, I posted a breakdown of the requirements as kind of re-scoped by Bart and the ENF team. We are still working through the final details of the proposal, so we're not quite ready to submit that, but we're very close on that. So I would expect that in the next couple days. Ted, Bart, are there any things you want to add to that, or is that a good summary?
I have nothing to add.
I don't have anything to add either. It's a good summary. I'm happy to field any questions.
Good segue. Are there any questions for Bart? Okay, and we'll assume that if nobody comments on the document that was posted to the Telegram channel, that everybody is saying that the scope as defined by Bart is acceptable.
I do believe, though, that for every other RFP prior to it going out, that we actually just take a vote, just formalizing the approval of the RFP itself.
Yeah, so my understanding is we're in process of putting together a proposal based on the last vote. And then there needs to be that final vote once we can put numbers in front of the coalition that, yes, they will go ahead and fund this.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
good.
correct. Yeah.
Making sure I'm aligned. Good. So that hopefully will be voted on by next week. All right, next topic, coalition top up to fund RFPs. So we posted the current draft for the RFP funding last week. Are there any comments on that? Are we expecting it to change?
I believe Douglas is here right now. Douglas, do you have, were you able to do some work on that front? I'm not sure if, I don't know if Douglas, if you're here, I can see you're here. If you're trying to speak, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry guys. Yes, I have. I can share that document, but I don't think we should share it and discuss it right, on this meeting. So I could share that in the Monday meeting, and we could discuss it.
Sure. One thing that I could propose, because we're already entering into the month of February, we could also, I guess, because the numbers are likely not going to be that far off from what we're looking on screen right now, I'd also be comfortable in taking those numbers on screen, splitting them by 4, making a first payment so that everybody makes the first quarterly payment. And then adjusting afterwards if those numbers change. Basically, the following payments would be adjusted to reflect that new reality. I'd also be okay with that if we wanted to, symbolically make a transfer in that treasury early in the year.
I would actually say that given how little the numbers actually change with the different methods for this year, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. We already started, selling tokens to fund the first payment.
What I'm not even proposing, just want to suggest is something that really takes most of its effect in future years, so that we can have a plan going forward. It doesn't change 2023 very much.
Okay. Is there anybody that wouldn't or that doesn't agree that we can make a first initial transfer, even if it's just symbolic, because the treasury currently has funds, but to make that initial transfer that essentially should have come in January? Is anybody opposed to that? Hearing no yays or nays.
We should do it. Money in the bank is money in the bank, my friend.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, if we need to take a vote on that, I'm good with that. I think it's a good idea. And so our first transfer would be in the sum of $250,000, I guess, a quarter. So it's easy for us. Not easy for us to make the transfer. Easy for me to tell you what the number is.
What about Wax? Seems like you're ready to vote.
That's a yes.
UX?
Yes.
TELOS?
Yeah.
Okay.
For formality as well, for last time, I believe the way I need kind of a refresher. I think the ENF needed to invoice you guys. That way you guys can make the transfer. So I think maybe Jeff, if you want to calculate what the quarter or 25% each is of each of those numbers, and then we'll send you an invoice from the ENF. That way you're able to make that transfer. That transfer goes in the account that you all control anyways, that we all control. But that way for accounting purposes, I believe that's what we'd done last time to suit everybody essentially.
That is what we did. We have. I looked at the invoices that were sent. One was sent on the April 22nd. I think was actually the last one that was sent to each of the other three from ENF. So that is what we did in the past.
Awesome. So Jeff, if you could maybe prepare that information for everybody, we can post it in the channel, and then we can get the show on the road this week or next week.
Yep, absolutely. We'll do.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Antler CDT. Bart or Ted, would one of you like to give an update on that?
I don't have the latest on it. Jeff, I know you're in the program management meetings there. Obviously, there is progress being made. I know we did pull some of the scope back due to an extended illness we had on the team, but I don't have the exact particulars of like where we are. It will be going out in the March release.
Yeah, we had already
communicated. Should have actually led with, as of earlier this week, everything on the CDT projects are either green or they were yellow last week, but expected to be back to green by the end of this week. With the current scope, as we've mentioned previously, and Ted, you alluded to, that was taken out a number of weeks ago. Are there any questions on that? All right, moving on to the Ledger app. Ted, have we?
I've reached out, but I have not heard back yet. I've been a little delayed in reaching out, so it's not surprising he hasn't gotten back to me yet. But if I don't hear by next week, I will ping him if I don't hear by Monday or Tuesday next week to follow up.
All right. All right, so IBC, there's a couple things we probably want to talk about today, Guillaume. First of all, do you want to talk about the deployments? Where are we with that?
Just before you start, Guillaume, I just want to say something. So last Saturday, the contracts were, I guess, Guillaume ran all the tests, and then we, the buttons were pushed, so to speak, symbolically, even though buttons were not really pushed. I just want to give an apology, a formal apology to, I guess, Justin here and Douglas. After we pushed that button internally within the ENF, we'd already prepared a bunch of tweets, etc. And an oversight was not on purpose. I did not notify Jesse nor Justin that we're in a Marcoms channel specifically for that. That essentially the button I did push a few hours before, and I released a tweet saying basically, hey, it's live type of thing. And I didn't give the chance to TELOS to be able to do the same at the same type of time. So I just want to say I'm sorry for that. It was an oversight. It wasn't on purpose, but it did, remove you guys the possibility of sharing the news at the same time as us. So I'm sorry for that.
That's cool. I think lesson learned. We've got our own announcements prepared. So yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but I guess like for next time we can figure that out a little bit more closely.
Yeah, I think thanks for saying that, Eve. I don't think any of us thought it was intentional.
So Guillaume, you want to take us into the more detailed discussion about the weekend?
Yep, absolutely. So As of now, IBC has been deployed to EOS, TELOS, and WAX. That includes the IBC contract as well as the wrap token contracts for all the chains. There's still WAX to be deployed, so just let me know, Lucas, on your end when you guys are ready. It will probably be I should be able to activate everything on a, let's say, a 24-hour notice. So really up to you. Just let us know.
We should be in a good place end of February, beginning of March. So just inching towards it.
Perfect. So that's going to be I'm going to be working with that tentative date. Just let me know if there's any updates, and we'll adjust.
Reminder if you activate any features to let Guillaume know in advance.
Yeah, I think now you just activated a few now with 3.2. So yeah, we had a few instances in the past where that did cause not any big issue. It's just like it typically takes a little while to figure out what's going on, and then okay, like these guys activated that feature, they did this, they did that. So yeah, like when you complete your upgrade, when you activate certain features like WTM SIG and action return value, for instance, just let me know. That way we can plan ahead and adjust.
Yeah, we're just reaching out to all the exchanges this week to make sure that they upgrade all their nodes. We're gonna have to do some hand holding there.
Gotcha.
And then once all the partners upgrade, then we will upgrade the mainnet. So that way we don't lose any sort of liquidity. That would be bad.
Yeah, indeed. So that sounds good. So as for the milestone, I like at this point, I think it's been reached. We can have a formal vote on the release of the payment, but it's basically like at WAX request, we haven't deployed it there, but it's deployed everywhere else. So that'd be great if we can have that vote. And then there are a few. I had a call this morning with Adam, who's been essentially monitoring progress on IBC and instant finality. We have 3 milestones that were scheduled for much later that we've been asked to move forward. So Jesse and Eve, we had discussions with both of them, and these milestones don't impact the rest of the schedule. They're basically different team members that work on these, so it doesn't impact anything else. And they were scheduled for July, October, and November of this year, but we have one that's like pretty much ready now, and then 2 of them which would also be ready probably in 6 weeks if we assign the resources to work on these things. So I'd like to propose that as well, unless there's any reason not to. It's basically like doesn't change anything. So happy to discuss it further if needed. Otherwise, I'll just give my team to go ahead, start working on these, and of course, these milestones will be properly reviewed by the appropriate people. Currently, the ENF and some of the VPs as well. So yeah, that's what I had to say.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a formal vote to release payment. Yes.
Yes, that is good for me. It works. It's live, and congratulations, everybody. This is awesome.
Yep. Wax.
That's a yes. Love spending other people's money.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, Eve.
And TELOS.
That.
All right. I will.
If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the larger milestones as well. It's quite massive in terms of payment.
Yes, I believe so, but I don't have the number off the top of my head.
I think it's 560 or 580,000 EOS, something like in that ballpark range. There's an exact number, but yeah.
I will work with Adam, and we will go through the correct process to get the funds released.
And for those listening, the reason why that was funny, it's a joke, is that the initial payments in this funding structure for instant finality and IBC are on EOS in the beginning up until, I think, milestone 7 or 8 or something like that. Then it's a shared between the 3 chains. And for the final milestones, I think the last 5 or so milestones, then it's all on Wax and TELOS. So anyways, for context.
Yeah. So it's no, thank you. Thank you, Steve and EOS, for doing that. All those funds, by the way, I believe are already delivered and on awaiting payment. So they have been paid in by for.
All right. And so you already gave the update on instant finality. Is there any questions about instant finality?
No, just that once Wax deploys, which will be really interesting, then it's going to open up a lot of, I guess, different opportunities. So as I mentioned last week when we were having this call, I did go down to Costa Rica for a couple of days with Guillaume, and we did talk about that a lot on what we could potentially do with this going forward as a coalition. In terms of now we've got this product, right, that we can start leveraging. I would like at some point, not soon, but to schedule a call between the 4 chains and anybody else who wants to participate to see how we can actually leverage this now new function that we have more formally between the 4 chains essentially. So Guillaume and I had a bunch of wild ideas about that, but it'd be great to basically be able to get everybody on a call and just similarly to what we did with the Douglas podcast, Good Block podcast, then to do that, but more formally and to see really what we can do with this. So it's just a note. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So just so I understand, that's more of an internal brainstorming session, or is that going to be like an actual televised work session? Could be televised. It's essentially just now that we've got this function, or now once Wax joins and we have this function between the 4 of us, we've got a product here that we can leverage. And so, what could that look like from a coalition point of view, let's say from a business development perspective, or even once we do the reprioritization, the next reprioritization exercise, how could we start looking at this thing and what we could potentially do with it, but formally as the 4 chains as well, right? So other people, once we make the payment over to UX or Origin, I guess, for this work, then it becomes open source. So other people will be able to use it. We already know a bunch of people that want to use it in the background. But what makes it unique between the 4 of us is that we have, we're on the same contract. And so what could we potentially do with this in terms of priorities, et cetera? One of the things that we were talking about is that a lot of the priorities that we're determining as a coalition right now are very tech-based, but potentially this or leveraging this could be something in terms of a priority that would be more maybe business development focused and what that could look like. So basically just trying to look at this function that we have, this opportunity that we have, what else could we do to continue pushing forward with this particular function, but as a group. Right? Because we're all going to do our own things as separate chains, but as a group of 4, how can we leverage this now new thing that we essentially just developed and paid for? Right. Okay. So I think I understand. So there are actually 2 functions, and it might actually be 2 meetings. One would be an internal, like let's brainstorm a lot of ideas that we could work with, and then another one is more outward facing, which would be let's get the community. Let's now that we've figured this out and we've gone through the no bad ideas, phase of that. Let's get all kinds of developers who are already in Antelope or not in Antelope yet, or either way, get them excited about using these with our.
Yeah, potentially. I think that the latter that you just mentioned is kind of the podcast that we had done before. So doing more of those is great. The former, so the first part is, I think, what I'd like to focus on. It's more the business development side of things for the chains.
Yep. Okay.
what we could do is use a Monday meeting for that if you're not opposed to that.
Yeah, and again, it's still early on. It's just we were on this topic, and you said, "Is there anything else about IBC?"
Yep.
Wax is not deployed yet, but I just don't want to let this go. Where, all right, now what's next? What happens next?
Yeah.
Let's have a plan, and then let's get other people excited about the plan. I mean, I think we do want this out there, right? Because we want developers to see our chains as an ecosystem that is ripe for exciting new developments that they can do. Right? We want to catch people's eye with something that can't be done elsewhere.
All right, last topic for today. Aaron, you want to give us an update on Wallet SDK?
Yeah, sure. We're deep in the midst of working on the UI stuff now that the trajectory of the project has changed from last week. We had a lot of groundwork laid for that and should have something to show relatively soon for that. Just this morning, I was seeing kind of the first iteration of the designs for the common UI elements across anybody that implements this framework. The way it's being designed also is so that if you don't like the UI, it's all abstracted out so that you can actually replace it and actually, bake it into your own branded experience, whether that is something chain related, something app related, whatever that may be. We're trying to strike the right balance between, some sort of common familiar feeling throughout the process, no matter which app or which blockchain you are using, but also giving those unique opportunities to, override that in cases where it is needed. So, could probably ramble about the UI stuff quite a bit, but I will hold off on that. Happy to take questions and whatnot on that, either here or offline, but that's our primary focus right now. We'll probably be submitting the session kit. I think that was milestone 2 in the new schedule, maybe 3. I don't have it in front of me. As completed soon. There's still changes happening to it, but we're in a state where it's kind of ready to be marked off as it is on the milestones. I have a meeting right after this with Adam to rework the report that you guys see week to week. So I believe starting next week, I guess I don't want to put a timetable on it, on Adam either. But sometime soon you will start to see that reflected in those weekly reports. So no concerns to raise, just good progress happening.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions for Aaron?
Very exciting.
All right, so we have exhausted today's topics. Is there anything else people would like to bring up while we still have 15 minutes left?
No, we've been pretty efficient with these meetings, actually. Oh, Guillaume, you're ruining it. No.
Sorry.
I was going to say the last couple of meetings have been really good.
You jinxed it.
No, I'm just gonna say, we do, like I said a bit earlier, I hinted at a few milestones that we can move forward. One of them is essentially regarding the support of history solutions when it comes to generating IBC proofs. So I was just gonna say, Aaron, if you are available at some point over the next few days, maybe we can have a one-on-one call. I can kind of run you over what I had in mind. I think all of the other history solutions that we don't currently support, they all use SHIP. So if that's the case, then we would essentially build the adapter for SHIP, and that would work, I think, with everyone. So with you guys, with Robo, as well as with Hyperion, and I think what's the name, Chronicles, I think. So if that's okay, I would just take a half hour of your time and go over that.
Yeah, we can schedule something. We aren't based on SHIP.
Okay.
We're all based on the Trace API. So as
Gotcha.
long as the same data is surfaced, it shouldn't be too big of a problem.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's fine as well.
And just for context, this is a milestone that's set in the future, but that potentially could be accelerated and essentially be deployed or delivered sooner, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's because a lot of people have been asking for it, so I've got quite a few requests to support these, and it was actually scheduled for like 15 months from signing, so that makes us.
And for context as well, currently the only solution that supports IBC is diffuse, and so this would open it up basically to anybody and everybody, basically. I would definitely support accelerating that if you have the bandwidth and it doesn't set back other milestones. I think this is a huge win for developers in the community.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different. It's the personnel that's involved in that is there's no overlap with the personnel that's involved in the rest, so we can definitely do the two at the same in parallel.
Awesome.
And I guess from our side there is overlap, so I don't know how quickly we'll be able to deliver if we have to make modifications. Just because we are running this wharf against milestones as well, so modifying Robo itself to accommodate this, if that's even needed. I don't know where that'll fall. So just as a bit of a preface to the conversation.
It might not require much on your end. I think like the way what we're going to propose is it should be fairly minimal, if anything, that needs to be done by the other history solution providers.
But if I understand correctly, though, status quo would be you wouldn't be able to do the work even if you had bandwidth on your end, Aaron. However, if Guillaume accelerates this component, then all the other solutions, if they have bandwidth, including yourselves, could potentially then integrate faster rather than later. So I don't think it removes anything. It just opens up a possibility. Is that correct, Guillaume?
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't impact anybody, essentially. It just opens a new door.
Right.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Okay, now are we done?
I've just got one quick update.
No.
It's really quick.
I just wanted to.
No, just letting you guys know that we've restarted the Antelope go-to-market strategy working group. And so, yeah, that was our first meeting we had. I think it was on Tuesday. And we just taking care of some low-hanging fruit, I guess, in terms of getting, I think we're going to look to get, obviously, all the various websites hopefully updated. There's still links to EOS.io that need to be changed to Antelope. So there's things like that to take care of, and I'll put some suggestions in the Telegram group. Also, there was some talk of events that we could have some collaborations at throughout the year. So, and I think like something we could probably look at is that IBC future conversation, and maybe we can put some planning around that in the coming months. But I'll keep you guys updated in the coming meetings and also on Telegram.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later, possibly Monday.
All right. Take care.
See you Monday.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.